So let's jump into chapter 1, and it's titled Mission Possible, because we want your mission of performing audits to be possible. Now, when I was a child, I would watch the TV show Mission Impossible, and if any of you have ever seen those old TV shows, you'll see Jim sitting on the bench, and this happened every week. He'd sit on the bench, he'd had this tape player, he would listen to this message, and it would say, "Your mission, Jim, should you choose to accept it." And then they'd describe this very dangerous mission. And then it would say, "If you or any member of your team should be caught or killed, the secretary will disavow any knowledge of your actions." And then the really cool part, in 5 seconds this message will self-destruct. Good luck, Jim. And then the machine would begin to smoke and it would self-destruct. Really heady stuff for an 8-year-old. I love the show. And if you watch that show, you're going to see a new mission each week. But as auditors, we have the same mission every time we do an audit. And if we understand auditing, then the mission is possible. So I won't say that every audit is the same, they're not, but the mission to audit and to gain the evidential manner to support that opinion, that mission is the same every time. So not as exciting as Mission Impossible, but still good stuff. And if you're like me, I love auditing, and it's still fun. So let's go to the first slide here for chapter 1, and I say that fractured pictures lead to wrong responses. And what do I mean? Well, many auditors, including myself sometimes, we're trying to gather the information to plan the audit, and we've got pieces of information, but we don't have a complete picture of what's going on in the business. And because we've got a fractured picture, it can lead to wrong responses in terms of the procedures that we perform in the audit. So we're trying to put the pieces together, but sometimes we get splinters. Now, if you were walking down a dark alley in a big city and you saw these pieces of a lady's face, would you feel danger? Well, it's kind of hard to say. We don't really know because there's not a composite picture, and so it's really hard to make that assessment and know whether or not this person is dangerous. So, is there a threat? Well, if we had the complete picture, then we might better know whether or not there's a real threat. And so my point here is that whole pictures lead to right responses. If we've got that composite picture, then we know how to respond to it. So we've got to put the pieces together. So if you put those pieces together, you'd see this lady, she does not look threatening to me at all, and low risk, low response, I don't really need to do much. But if you meet other characters in that dark alley, you might feel differently. So what if you met this guy in the alley? Well, you may want to, give him plenty of room to pass by. Or if you met this lady, you might want to start running. Really dangerous. Or if you met this lady, you'd go, "Hey, cool, really nice lady and no real threat here." So as you plan your audits, you're trying to put these pieces of information together to know whether or not there's a risk of material misstatement. If there's no risk of material misstatement, then you can proceed in a normal manner and perform your normal audit procedures. But if that risk goes up, then you're going to need additional ammunition. You're going to need to perform additional audit procedures. So your whole picture might say to you, after you do this risk assessment work, that financial statements are complete and that they're materially correct. Well now, if that's true, then we've got lower risk. Or you might do that risk assessment work and it's saying, hey, the financial statements are not complete, they're not whole, they have material misstatements. Then you've got to do more work to see where those misstatements are. And those misstatements might come through fraud, theft, or they might come by errors. But either way, we need to know if there are material misstatements. You'll recall from the first video, the bad guys are who? Yeah, material misstatements. So we're doing this risk assessment work to see what is the composite picture and whether or not the composite picture of the financial statements, if we feel like it's complete and materially correct, or it's not complete and it has material misstatements. So the type and level of threats, that's going to determine the type and level of responses that we are going to perform. So you see what we're after here in chapter 1, which I'm really saying to you that the mission is possible, that the mission is the same in every audit, and that's to gain evidential manner to support your audit opinion. And in the early stages of the audit, we're doing risk assessment to bring the disparate pieces of risk into a composite picture so that we can see whether or not the financial statements are complete, whether or not they're materially correct. Now, you're going to see in future videos that as we do the risk assessment work, we're bringing those pieces together in the summary risk assessment form. So I want you to recall this video as you put those pieces together on the summary risk assessment form, that the reason we're doing that is we're bringing together a composite picture of the risk, whether or not there's a risk of material misstatement, whether or not we believe the financial statements are okay or they're not okay. That's the goal, that's the mission, and it is possible. See you in the next video. Bye now.